Hi everybody and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This video is a one-story video with a post from the subreddit Am I the A-hole that has a 10-month later update. So if you want to go ahead and get started with the story, just use the timestamps below the video. Now I'd like to give a quick shout out to everyone that supports me. Thank you so much, it really means a lot to me. Now let's get started with today's story. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user LightSideDarkside. Am I the a-hole for being a stay-at-home parent and going back to school? My wife has an incredible work ethic. Neither of us is college educated, but managed to be professionally successful the majority of our adult lives. My wife has worked since she was 15 and really defines herself by the work she accomplishes. She worked right up until she gave birth, even though she really didn't need to. We had been planning for her to be at home, and my job had amazing insurance, so the hospital bills were manageable. After our daughter was born, my wife went back to work after about 2.5 months. She was going crazy being at home with the baby all the time. I was working from home full time. My job was very demanding, and I had a lot of clients. I was unavailable from 8 until 6 every day. This was hard for my wife. I was technically home, but really needed to focus on my job, so it wasn't much help. I instead took on dinners and laundry and cleaning, and whenever the kiddo woke up at night, I was the one that got up to let my wife sleep. We were both incredibly sleep deprived. That's just how it goes with newborns. When my wife went back to work, we couldn't afford childcare, and my wife essentially said, "You're home, you're on deck." I went from working 50 hours a week to working 50 hours a week while taking care of my daughter full time. My work suffered, my relationship with my clients suffered, my marriage suffered. I was still getting up at night because my wife would just sleep through our daughter crying. The company I worked for was sold a year later. I found work here and there that let me be home with our baby during the day, but knew I couldn't work full time from home again and take care of the baby. My wife suggested I stay home. She got a job with insurance for her and our daughter, but my insurance went away. I was stuck. My wife wasn't going to change her job plans and made it clear she wasn't up to being the stay-at-home parent. We couldn't afford childcare, couldn't afford insurance for me. Couldn't let me find work that would help pay for that stuff. It's been about a year, and other than the occasional seasonal gig, I've been the stay-at-home parent. My wife constantly uses this against me when I ask her for things. "You don't bring in any money, you don't understand the stress of being the sole provider." This really hurts. She didn't really give me a choice here, but makes me feel awful for being home and won't combine our finances so I can help to make a budget. I'm going back to school in September. I arranged everything to make it possible, but my wife has been telling me what a terrible idea it is. My parents are paying for it and providing childcare 2 days a week. My father has a degenerative disease and won't be able to babysit in a few years. I'll also be able to get some health insurance. Other than asking my wife to watch our daughter 2 weekdays instead of 1, I've made sure she won't have to do anything else. She's literally just moving one of her days off, but she's making me feel horribly selfish. Am I the a-hole? OP, in my opinion, no, you are not the a-hole. And also, I don't think your wife understands the deal with being a partner. Totally fine that she doesn't want to be the stay-at-home parent, but if you don't want to be the stay-at-home parent, then you guys gotta work together. If you want to find the job because you don't have any health insurance and you're not bringing in any money like she's making you feel guilty about, then you guys need to work together and there has to be a compromise. Apparently, she's unwilling to do that. That's not cool. You're now the stay-at-home parent and you're not bringing in any money, and she refuses to combine finances so you can do something for the household or even for yourself. That's not right. I'd say that's financial abuse because she put you in that position and she's not willing to compromise in order to improve both of your lives. And on top of that, now that she's gone back to work and she doesn't take care of the baby during the day that you do, she's not even willing to do the night shift like you used to do while she was at home all day and you were working. That part kind of pissed me off because it tells me that your wife is really not into being a team with you. She just wants to do her thing and you're on the sideline to help her do her thing. What do you guys think? Am I wrong on this one? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they have to say. TWFM says, not the a-hole, but your wife kinda sounds like she is. She doesn't value your labor at all. And OP responds, I kind of understand though. I don't really produce anything she can see, I work hard focusing on the kiddo during the day and then clean the place up after dinner when the kid goes to bed. So my wife usually leaves in the morning when the house is clean and then comes home to a bit of a disaster every evening. Arts and crafts, cardboard forts, rice from the rice table. After work, I think she just sees a mess. I've tried to be really understanding about that. She's really clean as you go, but our toddler lives from one thing to the next pretty fast, so we sort of destroy everything, then I clean late when I have a bit more time. 3 Fluffies says, not the a-hole. You both have a right to make decisions based on your own needs, as well as the kids. And if full-time stay-at-home isn't working for you, your wife has no business treating you like an indentured servant. There was another post today where the husband was trying to volunteer his wife into homeschooling the kids when she fervently did not want to. That wasn't okay either. I suggest marriage counseling so you and your wife can relearn the fact that marriage is an equal partnership, regardless of who brings in the most money, and everyone's mental health needs should be considered and accommodated reasonably. And OP responds, counseling does sound like a good idea, but she's adamant that we can't afford it, and I can't argue otherwise. The one time we went, she didn't like it very much. My jobs have required me to be a very clear communicator, but my wife didn't find it easy to be relaxed enough to share personal stuff with a stranger right away, and then we just didn't go back. Ryan420 says, not the a-hole. Parenting is a 2-person job, and staying at home and working or being a full-time parent is just as stressful and valid. People would be up in arms if it was the other way around and you were the one working full-time and your wife had no health insurance. And OP responds, I guess I didn't really think about it like that. OP's edit. I never really thought of my wife's behavior as abusive, but that seems to be the general consensus so far. I never even considered that financial abuse might be a thing. I'm not sure what to do. Right now, I'm leaning towards trying to make my wife aware of what she's doing and how it is affecting me. Reading your comments has been a little therapeutic. A lot of this stuff feels like things I've known in my head but have really been afraid to acknowledge. If my wife refuses to address these issues with me, I'm genuinely afraid of what that means for my family. Thank you to everyone who has responded up to now. I've been doing a lot of uncomfortable reflecting and have more to do, I'm sure, but this was helpful. Well, the community is in agreement that OP is not the a-hole, and apparently all of their comments have actually opened OP's eyes to the truth about his relationship with his wife and how the way that she's acting is not really as a partner. So this original post and the comments are from 10 months ago, before OP started school. And the update that we're going to see now is just from 2 days ago, so there's a big gap that OP is going to fill us in. Let's continue with that now. A lot of people in my previous post brought up financial abuse, not a concept I was familiar with. It was incredibly difficult for me to accept that my wife was being manipulative and controlling in that way. I had this notion in my head that any kind of abuse had to be intentionally malicious, and that being kind and accepting and loving meant taking the good with the bad and not judging when someone is unkind to me. In the case of my wife, I really thought that since I understood where her behavior was coming from, how she grew up, that I had to learn to deal with how she acted towards me. It was my problem to solve. I went back to school despite my wife's disapproval and also found the job that has given me a scholarship for school. I'm going into engineering. Never thought I'd love math this much, but I really do. Thought getting a job and having tuition covered might stop my wife from being upset about school, but oh boy was I wrong. My wife is still not supportive. I just finished up my first year of classes literally yesterday. 4.0, baby. And I'm on cloud 9. The entire year, all I've heard from her is how little I help around the house, that my job should pay me more, that she can't be expected to do everything, that it's going to take too long to get my degree. Endless. I will always love my wife, but I've realized we're not good together. With the help of my therapist, I've been learning to say what I want and to set reasonable boundaries and expectations, especially with money. I want to be able to co-parent our daughter together, but I'm also very aware that my wife isn't likely to split with me amicably. It's a tough position to be in for me. All in all, my life is on a positive path. I'm grateful for the insight everyone here provided. I'm sad about my marriage, but since I made the decision to separate, I've felt so much relief. I'm working to not feel guilty about that. I was raised to believe that divorce meant failure. Sometimes relationships just don't work out. Trying to keep something going when it's just over? Surefire way to be unhappy. I'm glad I've got the perspective to see that now. I don't want to make it sound like I'm perfect and my wife is this raging bee. The first few years of our marriage, I was battling undiagnosed bipolar disorder and was a miserable crap. I'm stable, medicated, in therapy, and really enjoying my life right now. That was another one of the reasons I put up with a lot of the negative treatment. I felt like I deserved it. Anyway, love being a student, love my job, love my kiddo. Thanks again. OP's edit. Just a few things I'd like to add. 1. Thank you again for all the love. The positivity and encouragement I received here is incredible. I've had to make a lot of hard choices and haven't heard much in the way of good job. I needed that. 2. A lot of people have expressed their concern over potential custody battles. My brother is a lawyer and got me in touch with someone who understands family law, so I've been preparing for any legal fights. I'm still hopeful my wife and I can figure out a plan that works for all three of us, but for my daughter's sake, I need to cover my bases. 3. My wife is not the devil. She has issues that she's refused to address, and that's made our marriage hard on both of us. As someone in the comments said, you have to deal with your own issues before you can help anyone else. My wife is overwhelmed by her issues and does what she feels will make her safe. And while I understand it, it's not my problem to solve. Couldn't solve it for her if I tried. And I've tried. 4. To the people who said we should never have had a child together, you're probably right. But I'll never regret that my daughter came into the world. Best person ever, hands down. 5. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health issues, don't wait, address it now. Do whatever it takes to find the help you need. It will only get harder to deal with if you wait. Even though OP's marriage has reached its end or is underway to be divorced, this is still a happy update. Unfortunately, OP's wife still has issues that she needs to resolve but refuses to. And that's where OP's right, this is not his thing to resolve, it has to be on her. Additionally, the way that she didn't support him going to school and all of the other things that she said to him, like, he doesn't pull his weight around the house, that his job should make more, and that she can't expect to do everything and blah blah blah, all that stuff, that's just not the behavior of a proper partner. Partners build you up, don't tear you down. And just one clarification on this point, this doesn't mean that a partner will never give you any kind of constructive criticism. Of course they must, partners help each other. This doesn't mean a partner's gonna blow smoke up your ass just to make you feel better. That's also not what a proper partner does. So in my opinion, of course OP, you've made the right decision for you and your daughter, and hopefully your wife will eventually see that she does have issues that she needs to resolve. And in the meantime, I hope you guys can reach a proper co-parenting agreement that benefits your daughter, because that's the person who you really need to be focusing on at the moment. You've dealt and keep dealing with your issues, and your wife needs to deal with hers when she's ready to. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.